One of my big inquiries is, what does it mean to be compassionate in a complex living system? And I want to invite you to read a book that changed my life many years ago called New World, New Mind. And New World, New Mind. It's by Paul Ehrlich, who's famous for the population bomb, and Robert Ornstein, who is famous for a book called Psychology of Consciousness. And New World, New Mind describes how our cognitive capacities were created like 10,000 years ago. We haven't changed significantly in our brains and nervous systems and response mechanisms for 10,000 years. We don't live in the world that we lived in 10,000 years ago. We are not designed for what we're living in. And we don't know how to see global warming. We don't know how to see, nuclear threat. We don't know how to see 911 secrets. We don't know how to see these things. We know how to see individual suffering, immediate danger, the animal coming at us. Mary Jane fell down the well. You look at the newspapers, see what catches people's attention. And I have a nightmare that has informed my work and my consciousness, looking at the crises that are coming down the road towards us, and the systems that generate those crises. There's very little that is threatening us right now that was not generated by human systems of one kind or another. And the vast majority of attention by activists and storytellers goes into handling human suffering, goes into handling destruction of this or that ecosystem, goes into the election of candidates, goes into issue-oriented sorts of things. This is us operating the way we were 10,000 years ago. And my nightmare is of a asymptotal curve. You know what an asymptotal curve is? Goes zzz, higher and higher. And that's the suffering and destruction that's caused by these systems. And I sense all the resources, all the creativity, all the caring that goes and is poured into, all the philanthropy, all the political action that's poured into those things that are not changing the systems. And it goes higher and higher until all resources are exhausted and the destruction and suffering go out of control and there's nothing left to handle it. So I want to invite you into looking at that seriously as we try to decide how we are going to engage with what some of us are beginning to call extinction level issues. Although the extinction level issues, for me, the crises, are a doorway for the transformation of social systems and consciousness. And that's part of working with Michael Dowd. I've been working with Michael Dowd intensively for two years. And that's why I'm focusing on that rather than my co-intelligence work or the other things that I've been looking at. Because the idea of people who think of themselves as intelligent, as evolution becoming conscious of itself, as we are evolution. Evolution is something that happened back then. Evolution is happening right now. Humans are the dominant influence in the planet. All the things that are changing on the planet are overwhelmingly caused by humans. And all the changes in ourselves are being caused by humans. If we can see the crises not as something to so much prevent or ameliorate or deal with the suffering from, but as openings in possibility, openings in consciousness, where we can actually use the energies of that to shift the social systems before we run out of energy, before it's too much even for our caring. Robert Theobald said, what's wrong with our systems is it makes it so difficult to care. And what does it mean? And I run across this all the time. It's like the person in front of me is suffering And how much time do I use with them when this is happening? And on the other hand, if I pay attention to all that and don't deal with the suffering human in front of me, where does my humanity go? I have a very personal situation with my partner, my life partner of 21 years, who has ovarian cancer. And we found out about that shortly before I came here. And it was like, should I even come? You know? And she knows where I'm at, and we had this heart-to-heart discussion. It's like, this was a mutual generosity to let me be here. You know, I said, I won't go to this conference that I've dreamed of for, more than a decade, and that I've been working on so solidly for so long, to be with you. And I feel, as I'm saying that I am betraying the future generations. And she knows that, and she, we're working, trying to figure out how to handle it. And I cut off a whole pile of other things I was doing after that. So I come to this conference, and I'm not going to stick around afterwards. We're going straight home. Right now, she's in the conference with the guy who's going to do the chemo. And I had, I haven't been able to talk about this in the earlier gatherings that we had. It's just when it surged through me. I didn't want it to colonize the conference, but it surged through me, and then the time was up, And I wasn't even going to talk about it now because the implications are so big, and so much of the really caring work that people are doing doesn't fit in the model that I'm saying. And I don't know what to do with that. And I definitely don't want to undermine any of the energies that are going on here. And I wasn't going to say anything here. And I was on the phone with Karen, my partner, and she says, I got my friend here from the Bay Area, and she'll come with me to you go say this thing to these people. So I'm saying it. And I want to say that the new story for me is not about the utopia good world that we're going to live in when it's all over. The new story for me is what we're going to do as the shit hits the fan, to use that energy to make the shifts that need to happen so we come out the other side with something really remarkable. And that's the story that needs to be told, and it needs to be told in a way that people can walk into it and live it. And there isn't a lot of time. So that's my piece.
And that's the initiation. Framing it that way gives it a sacred dimension. There's a hummingbird.